My name is Elena, and I am 32 years old. When I look back now, it feels like I am remembering a different life. A softer life. A quieter one. Back then, I was not strong. I was not famous. I was not proud of myself yet. But I was loved. And sometimes that is enough. I lived in a small apartment with a man who loved me in gentle ways. The kind of love that does not need big words. The kind that shows itself in small moments. Every morning, we woke up to the sound of the city outside our window. Cars passing, people going to work, life moving forward. Inside our little home, everything felt calm. We shared a tiny kitchen, 2 cups, one small table, one old sofa that had a soft place in the middle where we always sat together. We were not rich, but our days felt warm. In the evening, he would cook simple food, nothing special, just rice, soup, vegetables. But when we sat together and ate, it felt like something beautiful. We talked about small things, what we saw that day, what made us laugh, what made us tired. Love did not feel loud. It felt softly. I did not worry about being alone. I did not feel afraid of the future. When I was with him, tomorrow felt easy. That was our life. Simple, quiet, full of small happiness. He loved me in ways that made me feel seen. When I felt tired, he noticed. When I was sad, he listened. When I spoke about my dreams, he never laughed. He believed in me, even when I did not believe in myself. Sometimes I would tell him I wanted more from life. A better job, a bigger place to live, a chance to be someone important. He would smile and say, "You will be. I know you will." He was proud of me before I was successful. He was proud of me when I was still just trying. That kind of love is rare. But at that time, I did not know that. I only knew that something inside me was starting to change. Slowly, quietly, like a small fire waking up in my chest, I began to look at my life and feel something strange. It was not sadness. It was not anger. It was hunger. I wanted more than small rooms, more than simple dinners, more than a quiet life. I wanted to be seen, to be respected, to be important. I wanted to travel. I wanted to earn more money. I wanted people to look at me and say, "She made it." And little by little, love started to feel small compared to those dreams. I still loved him, but I also loved the idea of becoming someone else. Someone bigger, someone stronger, someone who did not live in a small apartment forever. At night, when he slept beside me, I would lie awake and think, is this all my life will be? Is this enough? My heart felt torn. On one side, there was him. His kindness, his quiet love, his steady presence. On the other side, there was a future I could almost see. A city full of lights. A job that made people respect me. A life that felt exciting. I did not know which one to choose, but I started to feel afraid. Afraid of being small. Afraid of staying in one place forever. Afraid of missing my chance to become more. And when fear grows, love starts to feel heavy. I began to stay out later. I took more work. I answered fewer messages. Not because I wanted to hurt him, but because I was slowly walking away from the life we shared. He noticed. Of course he did. One evening, he asked me if I was still happy. I said yes. But my heart was not honest anymore, because while he was still choosing us, I was already choosing my future. And that was the beginning of the end. The change did not happen in one loud moment. It happened slowly, quietly, like a door closing without a sound. I could feel him slipping away from me, even though he was still right beside me. he started to look at me in a different way. Not angry, not cold, just worried. One night, while we were sitting on our old sofa, he asked me a simple question. Are you still happy? His voice was soft, but his eyes were tired. I wanted to say yes. I wanted to lie, but my heart was already somewhere else. I told him I was confused. I told him I was thinking about my future. I told him I wanted more from life. He listened the way he always did. He did not interrupt. He did not get angry. He only said one thing. Can we grow together? That sentence stayed in my heart. Grow together. It was beautiful. But I was already dreaming of growing alone. A few weeks later, everything changed. I received an email that made my hands shake. A big company, a better salary, a chance to move to a big city. Everything I had been dreaming about was suddenly real. I read that message again and again. This was my chance. This was my door. I knew what it meant. If I took this job, I would leave him behind. That night, I did not sleep. I lay in bed beside him, listening to his breathing and feeling my heart break before anything had even happened. In the morning, I told him, we were standing in the kitchen, the same small kitchen where we had shared so many quiet mornings. My voice was shaking. I said I was leaving. I said I had been offered a job in another city. I said I needed to go. He looked at me like he did not understand. Are you leaving us? He asked. I wanted to say no, but the truth was yes. I told him I loved him. I told him he was good to me. I told him none of this was his fault, but I also said something that still hurts me now. I need to do this for myself. He did not cry. He did not shout. He just became very still. That was the hardest part. He asked if there was anything he could do, if he could come with me, if we could try, but I had already decided. I told him I needed to go alone. I watched his heart break in silence, and somehow that was worse than any anger. A few days later, I packed my things. Not everything, just the things that belonged to me. Clothes, books, dreams. I left behind a little home we built together. When I closed the door for the last time, I did not look back, because I was afraid that if I did, I would not be strong enough to leave. The big city welcomed me with bright lights and tall buildings. My new apartment was beautiful, clean, modern, quiet. Too quiet. That first night, I sat alone on the bed and waited for a message that never came. No, good night. No, I miss you. No, are you okay? I had everything I asked for, but I had never felt so alone. And in that silence, something inside me finally understood. I did not just leave a man. I left love. Years passed. The city became familiar. My job became bigger. My name started to matter. People respected me. They listened when I spoke. They called me successful. On the outside, I looked like a woman who had women. I wore nice clothes. I lived in a modern apartment, high above the streets. I had money in my bank account. I could travel when I wanted. I could buy what I wanted. I had the life I once dreamed about. But every night, I came home to silence. New footsteps. No one waiting. My apartment was beautiful, but it felt cold. There was no laughter in the rooms, no soft music playing while someone cooked, no one asking how my day was. Success filled my calendar, but it never filled my heart. Sometimes, after a long day at work, I would sit on my bed and feel very tired. Not in my body, in my soul. There was no one to share my small moments with. No one to tell when something funny happened. No one to hold when the day felt heavy. I tried to forget him. I dated new people, Kinji people. Interesting people. But every time someone smiled at me, I felt nothing. Every time someone held my hand, it felt empty. No one felt like him. So I traveled. I went to new cities. I stayed in beautiful hotels. I took photos and shared them online. People said I was living a great life, but I always felt alone in those photos. One evening, after many years, I heard his name again. A friend mentioned it without knowing what it meant to me. She said he was married now. She said he had a child. She said he looked happy. The words hit my heart like a quiet storm. Married, happy, a family. He had the life we once dreamed about, and he had it without me. That night, I cried for the first time in many years. Not loud, not wild, just soft tears in a dark room. I finally understood something painful. I did not choose success. I chose loneliness. I thought I was choosing a future, but I was walking away from love. Now I have everything I wanted back then, but the one thing I truly needed is gone. I am proud of my work. I am proud of what I built. But if I am honest, I would give it all up to feel his love one more time, to sit on that old sofa, to eat simple food, to feel safe in someone's arms. Some choices cannot be undone. Success fades. Money fades. Even dreams fade. But love stays. And losing it is the most expensive thing in the world.